The movie begins with a young girl named Jane who wakes up and finds herself on the shore of an island. She gets confused about how she reached the island and quickly runs towards the land. Jane is still trying to understand everything. Then she sees her friend Brad lying on the nearby shore. She decides to get water for him and goes inside the island to find water. She looks around here and there to find a water source and finds a coconut filled with water. She picks up a stone from nearby and tries hard to break the coconut with full effort. She brings the coconut back and starts pouring the coconut water into Brad's mouth. Suddenly she notices that the color of Brad's face has faded. She calls his name many times, but no matter how much she tries, Brad does not respond. Realizing that her friend is now dead, she breaks down. She starts wandering around the island to see if anyone lives there. After walking around the entire shore of the island, Jane realizes that this island is completely isolated. After checking the shore, Jane goes inside the dense jungle of the island. She enters the jungle and sees a bag hanging on a tree and a cooler lying nearby. This gives her a hint that someone else was also stranded on this island before her. She gets scared and looks around, calling for help. When no one answers, she opens the bag and finds dust on it, which tells her that it has been lying there for a very long time. Inside the bag, she finds a medicine bottle from 1994. This leaves her with no hope of any help because whoever used this medicine in 1994 must have either left the island or died long ago. She checks the cooler and finds old cola bottles inside it. After checking the stuff properly, Jane finds some video games in the bag, which clearly shows that a family was stranded here. Feeling disappointed, she leaves the tent and reaches the shore. While looking at the shore, she hears some strange sounds coming from a hollow tree trunk nearby. She investigates it and finds that a tropical bird was making that sound. She gets the idea of using this trunk to sleep on the island that night. She goes to her friend and feels pity for him. In honor of his death, she covers his body with some leaves. She notices that the sun is setting and it starts raining. Jane hides under the trees and uses a life jacket to cover her body. The next day, Jane wakes up and sees many dead fish on the shore. She starts picking them up for her food. She moves forward. The fish do not move at all. She leaves the fish, packs her bag, and returns to the shore. She starts waiting for boats to pass near the island. She opens her backpack and takes out her diary. She opens her diary and finds that the ink has completely faded. She takes out her bookmark and looks at the photo of her boyfriend. She misses him a lot and wonders what happened to him during the shipwreck. She goes back into the jungle and finds a patch of empty ground. She walks further and finds 3 graves in the middle of that ground. She gets scared and runs back to the shore. After reaching the shore, she finds Brad's body rotting on the beach. She digs a grave for him and buries Brad's body in it. She places a stick with the letter B on Brad's grave. She then lies down and falls asleep. The next day, while she is wandering on the island, then she sees a terrifying sight. Brad's body, which she herself had buried, has been dug up, badly damaged, and dragged away by something. Jane gets scared and runs away from the horrible scene. To protect herself from any animal present on this island, she starts making a weapon by sharpening a wooden stick. She waits for quite a long time in her defensive position, but no monster appears. The sun starts to set, but Jane is still in her defensive position. Night falls, but nothing happens to Jane. The next day, Jane goes to the shore and sees something in the sea. She sees the light of a flare gun falling towards the water and watches a human-like monster emerging from the water. Fear rises inside her. She quickly grabs her weapon and runs into the jungle to hide. As soon as she hears the sound of heavy footsteps near the jungle, she starts trembling with fear. She remains hidden until the sound of the footsteps goes away and the monster returns to the sea. Next day, Jane returns to her camping site and looks for the photo. In one photo, Jane sees 2 glowing eyes behind the woman. She gets scared and plans to change her sleeping place for the night. For the night, Jane sleeps inside the hollow tree trunk with her weapon. At some point that night, Jane hears the sound of the monster approaching. The monster starts shaking the trunk. Jane does not make any sound to reveal her location to the monster. In the end, the monster leaves her. Next morning, Jane comes out of the trunk, goes near the shore to catch some fish. Uses some small fish as bait to hunt a small shark. After hunting the shark, she hangs it on a tree for the monster. Hopes that the monster will take the shark and leave her alone. Night, she watches the shark, falls asleep in the middle. Next morning, she sees that the shark is gone. She quickly runs to check and finds that it is her friend Jack, whose half body has been badly mutilated. He Hangs this man on the tree just like the shark and hides in her hiding place. It has been 6 days since Jane got stranded on this island. She looks at Jack's body and waits for the monster to come. She sees the monster coming to the shore and dragging Jack's body into the water. Suddenly, Jane hears the sound of an airplane, but she is afraid to do anything and waits for the monster to go back. The next day, Jane sets up a high-hanging bed among the trees to stay out of the monster's sight. At night, the weather starts getting bad and it begins to rain with thunder. Jane is lying on her bed when suddenly she gets startled by a flash of lightning. She gets up and sees the monster nearby. Unfortunately for Jane, the monster also sees her and starts walking straight towards her high platform. The monster begins to pull Jane's bed, but Jane tries hard not to make any sound. When the monster pulls hard, Jane jumps out of her bed and starts running away from the monster. The monster repeatedly tries to catch her but fails because Jane runs very fast. Suddenly the monster jumps in front of her and Jane pushes the monster away from herself using her weapon. During this, Jane gets injured in her leg, but she manages to push the monster away from her. The monster goes back into the sea. The next morning, Jane washes her wound and covers it with some cloth. She looks towards the sea and sees a raft boat nearby. She quickly swims to it and finds 2 more people who survived the shipwreck. Jane tells them about their friend Jack's body and how the monster had dragged his body into the water. Upon hearing about Jack, Mia and Lucas look at each other with guilty eyes. This shows that they know something about Jack's death. Jane shows them the photo of that family who was here before them. She asks if the monster is here, then who buried the 3 family members on this island. They tell Mia that Brad or the other people trapped in the shipwreck had a very scary journey on the raft boat to this island. It felt like every day was their last day. Mia tells Jane that she is not ready to go on another mental journey in the sea. Jane still tries to warn Mia about the hidden danger around them, but Mia refuses to believe in any such monster that drags dead bodies in the sea. Then Jane goes to Lucas and tries to convince him. Lucas, who is also fed up with the sea, refuses to leave the island. She tries to argue that they must leave this island and head west before the sun sets because the plane is flying from the west. Even though Lucas doesn't want to, after agreeing to Jane's words, he tells her to get ready. Jane takes the pocket knife and walks away. But just as she is about to use it, she sees some blood on the pocket knife. She is shocked because Mia and Lucas were stuck on the raft, so it was impossible for them to have caught any fish with the knife. She turns around and realizes that Mia and Lucas are pulling something out from under the raft board. Jane tries her best to push them away from her, but they grab her. Jane sees a little blood on the floor of the raft board. Lucas pulls Jane out of the board, grabs her, and Mia hits Jane on the head with the raft stick. Jane regains consciousness after a long time and realizes that it is already night. She looks around and tries to get up from the ground. She has been tied up so that if she tries to run away again, she won't be able to cause any harm. Mia apologizes to Jane for hitting her on the head with the raft, but Jane still insists on hiding from the monster. Mia tells Jane that Lucas has gone for a small round of the island and will meet them near the girls' camping spot. He smiles and tells them that he didn't find any monster in the jungle. Jane looks up mockingly and tells them that the monster doesn't come from the jungle but from the sea. Mia finds this funny and leaves the couple alone to walk on the beach. Mia starts walking near the shore and sees a torn and cut fish in the water. She picks it up and gets scared after seeing the dead fish. Meanwhile, an argument is happening between Jane and Lucas. Lucas tells Jane that she is a negative person in his life. He reminds her of the time they spent on the boat. When he was partying with his friends and Jane became a danger for him, he reminds her that she is an antisocial person who is nothing without him. Jane refuses to understand Lucas's words and tells him to untie her. Lucas mocks her again and says that nothing will come of Jane's behavior. Jane again asks him to untie her, saying that there are plenty of food sources on this island and they don't need to worry about dying of hunger here. They only need to worry about that bloodthirsty sea monster which the monster caught at night. Jane gets scared and asks Lucas to untie her, but Lucas ignores her and, holding a burning stick in his hand, runs towards the monster. He attacks the sea monster with the light from the torch. But the monster doesn't even move. The monster easily punches Lucas and throws him away. After many attempts, Jane frees herself from the bonds and runs towards her friends. After reaching Lucas, Jane realizes that it is already too late because the sea monster is dragging Mia with it into the sea. Jane takes the frightened Lucas into the jungle and hides from the monster. It starts chasing them and tries to attack her again. But the monster gets tired and falls from Jane's attacks. Jane quickly goes near the monster and kills it with her spear. After finally killing the monster, she goes back to the shore to rest. A fire starts spreading in the island behind her, but Jane doesn't care. She uses this fire as a signal for any plane flying near the island. With this, Jane's wait for help begins.